So here's what I think is actually super interesting and real story. I went to my OB. I was either 36, 37. I remember like it was like in my 30s. And I'm going like, I am for sure, I'm hitting early menopause. This is, like, what is going on? I went in and it was a female OB and she was lovely. And she was like, oh, pat, pat, pat on my wrist. You're in perimenopause. You can expect this for the next decade. Say what? Like, again, I've heard about, quote unquote, the change. I didn't know there was like 10 years of garbage leading up into this. Right? And so she said, you expect every 3 to 5 years, there's going to be a little bit of a change in what you're experiencing now. So say what?
Yeah, say what? It doesn't have to be like that though.
Welcome to the 3 Women On podcast, your go-to for real talk on women's health, careers, family, and everything in between. Hey, welcome back. And what a great week. And this, you guys, I am so excited about this topic.
I am excited about this topic as well.
And mainly because we're going to talk about the good, the bad, the funny, I guess the ugly too, about perimenopause.
Peri what?
Right?
Can we say that word?
I know.
I'm excited because we need a community to talk about this because it can be a very isolating thing, I think.
Well, and so I quit pop quiz. I'm going to pull Monica. Did your moms talk to you about menopause and perimenopause?
Oh, no. The change.
No. That's all I heard is the change.
The change. That's what I heard from my
I
grandma.
had no idea what that meant or what that entailed, but I just, that's what I
changed clothes.
Right, exactly.
And that's all oh no, that went after the change. And I remember being
so
like,
taboo, huh?
It was.
Yeah. But I think our generation is changing that.
Getting better,
right?
For sure.
You're seeing more and more people talking about it.
Yeah.
And so we're going to use this episode to be educational, but also what your girlfriends should be telling you. Yep. And if maybe you're the first of your girlfriends and so you don't know this stuff yet, but we're going to be your girlfriends through this. Yep. But also because we've got Dr. Monica here, we're going to have some good
good
stuff.
content. Yeah. Good medical content.
Good medical content. So first and foremost, Monica.
Yo.
What is the cause of perimenopause from a medical perspective? What's going on in our bodies?
Well, it's kind of like your ovaries are on a ride at Six Flags Magic Mountain on a roller coaster ride. How's that?
Very medical.
How do you like that?
But I get it.
But a great description.
But I get it. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, they're up, down, all around. Sometimes they're having a good day and sometimes they're in the dumpsters. And that's why, see, this is such a great conversation because how many people in perimenopause years go and get hormone testing and they're told that their hormones are this, that, or whatever. It could be that day they are because they're on the uphill of the roller coaster.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I didn't think of that.
So you can't really come up with a hormone regimen per se because they're literally a roller coaster.
It's one point in time.
It's one point in time.
So here's what I think is actually super interesting and real story. I went to my OB. I was either 36, 37. I remember like it was like in my 30s. And I'm going like, I am for sure, I'm hitting early menopause. This is, what is going on? I went in and it was a female OB and she was lovely. And she was like, oh, pat, pat, pat on my wrist. You're in perimenopause. You can expect this for the next decade. Say what? Again, I've heard about, quote unquote, the change. I didn't know there was like 10 years of garbage leading up into this. Right? And so she said, you expect every 3 to 5 years, there's going to be a little bit of a change in what you're experiencing now. So say what?
Yeah, say what?
Say what?
It doesn't have to be like that though.
Yeah, I learned that later on.
Okay, that gives me hope. That is
it doesn't. Thing. It's working with a practitioner and looking at stress and lifestyle and how do we support you along these phases, right? Yeah. Along the roller coaster ride.
Yep.
Right. And so it's not a one size fits all like, oh, you need XYZ hormones or this or that. It's so much more than that.
Very individualized, and it sounds like it needs to be dynamic. It needs to change as we are changing through those years, that seems impossible, but
No,
it's possible.
It's not really. Okay, so I had so many health problems when I was young. I didn't have a menstrual cycle till I was 26, 28. Like I was so
Like
unhappy.
ever?
Ever.
Wow.
And we can talk about that one time too. And that's why I absolutely adore this mission that we're on, because I suffered so much in my younger years. Right.
Yep.
And so then at, I think it's about age 50, I just stopped on a dime. Just stopped my cycle on a dime. I never really went through a perimenopause phase. And it was due to stress. I remember the very last cycle I had, because my mom was going through chemo, and I was flying back and forth from here to California, and I think the stress of that just stopped me on a dime. Mm-hmm. But you also know I live a very holistic as possible lifestyle, right?
Yep.
So I didn't go through the hot flashes and all that turmoil because of the way that I eat, the supplements I take, the support that I do.
Yeah, you know what to do.
But when my dad then a year and a half-ish later was at his last phase of life, that's when the hot flashes came on.
Interesting.
Stress, bingo.
So it messed up your hormones.
Yeah, because what happens is hormones don't have to be all over the place if we know how to help manage them through the different phases and stages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and I know now, okay, if my blood sugar drops, it's more stress on my system, and I'll start getting hot flashes. And that's my key into myself. Like, okay, your blood sugar's dropping. You know, you gotta make sure you
Address
eat and
that,
so forth like that. So I've never really had this perimenopausal hot flashes and things.
That's lucky.
like
It can be a brutal ride, I think, for a lot of people. And to your point, everyone is different. Everyone's going to experience a different journey. But like, as I'm in the thick of it, it can be very brutal sometimes.
So let's talk about, you're in the thick of it. Like what symptoms, if you don't mind sharing, what are you experiencing, or what have you experienced?
I think a lot of cognitive decline is a lot of cognitive impact on me initially.
That brain fog?
Severe anxiety, depression to some extent. And that stress zapped my energy. Like it seems like it's all this cyclical, because you get anxiety or whatever, and then that makes you depressed. Like it just seemed like it can be very cyclical.
How about
Sleep. I've kind of got a handle on that, but I used to sleep terribly. I used to wake up like 3 or 4 times a night. Now sometimes I get the 2 a.m. wake up, but I typically can go right back to sleep. And so I'm doing better managing my sleep. But I have been deploying some things lately, which has helped me with my cognitive and anxiety a lot as well. So, but in the thick of it, in the worst times of my perimenopause journey, I think it was the cognitive impact that was the worst on me. How about you, Gina? What do you think?
I have to say, I really haven't. When I went to my doctor at 36, 37, it was more the really heavy periods and some things along those lines that I just associated with that there's something really wrong and this isn't normal.
Yeah.
I have to say, I haven't had like I shouldn't say weird. I haven't had like the night sweats. Like I haven't really experienced that. Knock on wood.
I do get night sweats.
Now I'm probably gonna get it tonight for the first time. What I do experience, hair loss. But then hair growing on my chin instead.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
And everybody laughs.
One and you gain another.
What is this? And then this
So
was just
true.
a plain funny one. And people are whoever's listening gonna be like, what? Dry skin in my ears. Like, I heard that there's like a dry skin thing, and then I've heard of like dry skin in your ears. Like, no, that's not it. But if you Google it, there are other women out there saying that they have dry skin in their ears.
Low estrogen gives you the vaginal dryness and all that. Yeah,
that makes sense.
And that is interesting. It is a thing.
That's a thing.
To your point on the like your ovaries are just going crazy. Still experience kind of crazy cycles, heavy cycles, not non-existent cycles that will come every 2 weeks.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's
normal.
so crazy.
But is that normal?
It's not normal. I should say.
It will happen that way.
In the medical world definition, it's normal.
Yeah.
But it didn't. That wasn't my normal. I never had.
Right.
But again, I did have heavy cycles and stuff because I had a lot of issues when I was younger.
Yeah.
And then I had got them pretty regulated with my lifestyle and diet and supplements and so forth. And then I just stopped on that. Now, people that I work with, I guess I would say the typical American transition thing, you will see that. You will see, a 38-day cycle and a 42-day cycle and a 2-week cycle and you're going to see it all over the place. That's why I say it's like your ovaries on a roller coaster ride, right? And so you'll see hormones all over the place too. And so you might see heavier periods because your estrogen's higher. Heavy, clotty periods, breast tenderness, that's usually high estrogen. Now this is a good thing we need to define. It's not, it could be that your estrogen is too high, but there is also a balance between estrogen and progesterone. So it could be that your progesterone's too low and it's out of ratio. And that's why the estrogen is taking over that ride at that time.
Got it.
So that's why it's hard to do. You can do hormone panels and you can get a glimpse of what's going on, but it's best if you take the person as a whole thing. So modifying their stress load.
Yep.
And I'm going to say, like, and if you're experiencing this and you're listening and you're like all over the place, speaking from experience, my periods were 14 days, 22 days, 5 days.
Yep.
It was all over the place. It turned out it wasn't perimenopause at all. It was I had a growth in my uterus. Like it's really important that you are working with the right practitioner and not afraid to have these conversations.
That's a great point.
Because to your point, like, yes, the blood panels might be fine on that day.
Yep.
If you've got a really good OB, I mean, he or she is going to say, hey, I need you to come on this day of your period.
Yep.
I need you to come. Like, they're going to be working with you, not just because you're in the office today, let's take some blood, but make sure you're having these conversations to make sure you're ruling out something else that it might be.
Yeah. And advocate for yourself.
Right. Because I mean, I literally probably went through this for about almost a year and a half before I finally did, because I just kept thinking it was perimenopause. And finally the doc was like, no, this is not normal.
Yeah. That's a great point. Yeah. If you're having frequent periods and excessive bleeding and clotting and so forth, you need to explore that a little deeper and advocate for yourself.
Just to rule it out, just to make sure.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the things that have helped us during perimenopause, and just in general, like diet and exercise. This is almost like
so big.
Do you almost want to say like this almost cures like so many things? Diet and exercise.
It does help with a lot of systems.
Yeah. Diet and exercise, because again, you're managing your stress load.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, and can I say taking the berberine, the Bioligent berberine has helped me a ton. And I don't recall having night sweats since I've been on it. And I don't know if that's relational anyway, or
Absolutely.
if it's...
Again, as soon as, so one, you have to have enough cholesterol to build hormones.
Okay.
Oh.
So this cholesterol is the top of the cascade to build hormones.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of people on cholesterol lowering medications to the point where it's under 100. That is not good for cognition, for your brain. Oh. Your brain needs cholesterol to work, and you need cholesterol to make hormones. You need magnesium to break down the cholesterol.
Yep.
Okay. If your adrenal glands are burned out, you're going to be burning through magnesium. So as you guys know, we've talked about, I like to build a profile for people. I give them an adrenal support, support their stress load, give them a blood sugar support, and then there's natural, what we call hormonal adaptogens. So your body will use them, and your body's smart enough to know to use it to, do I need to upregulate my progesterone a little bit more and downregulate my estrogen? So there's natural plants and herbs and things that we can use to help support the hormonal cascade.
So let's
Ooh,
talk about
yeah,
that,
that's
because
cool.
we have a little sneak peek. We actually have a women's hormone support product.
Yes.
And we're very, very excited
I am
about.
super excited.
So
let's
excited.
talk about that. You've really crafted a really unique blend of herbs.
And not just, I want to throw this to older women too. It's not just perimenopause; it's postmenopause too. We can conjoin
Good.
these two
Yep.
topics, because we want to support during perimenopause, but after postmenopausal, bone density can be an issue, right?
Yes.
And so yes, we've crafted a very awesome,
So excited about
awesome
this
product to do that, to help balance a hormonal cascade from what the body's going to utilize and have its own ability to balance those hormones, and that have been associated with things like better sleep, increased bone density, less hot flashes, and better mood.
Yep.
And all these are natural plant-based substances that we've known for hundreds of years.
Now, for women that are on HRT, so hormone replacement therapy, will this product be good for them as well?
Absolutely. With that caveat, I would say whatever practitioner they're working with, they may not need that dosage of.
So they should evaluate the dosage of HRT.
Of HRT, they should be monitoring that, and and if
That
they
makes
want
sense.
to eventually titrate off that could be a potential option.
Cool.
So, yeah. So, and I do everything. I'm on no hormone replacement therapy. I do have to watch my bone density, and that was another reason I am so excited about this particular product, because of its association with increased bone density, better sleep, mood,
So
all
good.
that.
All the things.
All the things.
Yep.
And then along with the berberine and the adrenal support,
Yep.
it's just
You're
it's
golden.
an entire system.
It's Again, focusing on that goal to be the best you, right? Like optimized you.
Yeah.
That's what we
There's
want.
there's a hormone cascade. You rob Peter to pay Paul. The other thing is, if you are in stress mode and your adrenal glands are tapped out, your body's not going to take the cholesterol and break it down to make progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone.
It's just trying to survive.
It's called a pregnenolone steal, long word, meaning basically the hormones don't get made. It converts down to making cortisol.
Yeah.
To keep you surviving.
Yep.
So again, we don't want to just give you a bunch of stuff to make hormones. We want to figure out, we want to support the bottom toe of that as the stress axis.
So going back to the root cause.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is such a great topic, and I know I have a feeling we'll probably revisit this, because I don't really know if you can ever get through perimenopause, menopause, any women's support. Doctors, practitioners, best advice that we can give women that are out there listening, going I want a doctor like Dr. Monica.
Mm-hmm.
But what are we looking for in practitioners? I know I really want somebody that listens to me, and that really, if I'm telling you something is wrong, something probably is really wrong. I know my body.
And from the get-go, you need to feel comfortable to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're not in a situation where you feel like you can express yourself and talk, find someone who you feel comfortable talking to.
Yeah. I always tell people, I tell, especially women, I say, listen, you know your body better than I know it. So if you come in and tell me something, I've got to think, okay, they're not, hypochondriac or making this up.
Yeah.
They're, and even with their kiddos, I tell moms, listen to your mommy meter. If they come in, they're bringing their kiddos to me, and I need to listen to you.
Yeah.
And then it's up to me to figure out the intricacies of why the system is backfiring.
Yep.
And why your ovaries on a roller coaster.
Gosh, isn't that the truth? Well, ladies, for those that are listening, you are not alone in this.
Nope.
You might be 36 years old going, what the what? You might be 52 saying, I'm still having a period, what the what?
Yep.
But yeah, you're definitely not alone. If you know someone, if you love someone, if you're friends with somebody that this episode could help, please share it with them. We would be grateful for that. And gosh, what a What an interesting, fun conversation, though.
Yeah, it's a
For a
good,
topic that's
it's a-
kind of like, ugh.
yeah, it's a good conversation to have.
Yeah.
Well, hope we can make it not taboo and we can
Agreed.
make it educational.
Yeah.
And we can talk about the hairy chin next time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What is that? Hey, thanks for joining us for 3 Women On. We'll catch you next week.